Good evening, everyone, and thanks so much for being here. I'm Gravity Goldberg, and I'm pleased to serve as co-jury chair of the Commonwealth Club's 92nd Annual California Book Awards. Tonight, we celebrate more than 9 decades of our honoring the extraordinary diversity and creativity of California writers. Our award-winning writers will be joining us by video from the comfort of their own homes. Joining me as hosts tonight are my co-jury chair, Peter Fish, and co-jurors Julia Flynn Seiler, Chris Chen, and Lauren Silver. Over its 92 years, the California Book Awards has honored many of the most important voices in American literature. Among them, Ishmael Reed, Amy Tan, Hector Tovar, Viet Thanh Nguyen, and Tommy Orange. We give awards in 8 categories: fiction, first fiction, nonfiction, juvenile, young adult, poetry, Californiana, and contribution to publishing. As you will see, this year's award winners are all that. They range in setting from contemporary Oakland to 1980s Colombia to the Southwest borderlands during the 1910 Mexican Revolution. In subject matter, they encompass the struggle of Japanese Americans in the incarceration camps of World War II and the quest of 2023 Southern California high school students to claim their true sexual identities. Now, before we start the awards, a few thanks. First, to Commonwealth Club President and CEO Gloria Duffy for her continuing support and encouragement of this awards program. Thanks to Sean Burmeister, the club's book manager, who coordinates getting hundreds of books from across the nation into our jury's hands. And thanks to Mark Kirshner, Spencer Campbell, and Kara Iwahashi, who make our online awards show happen. A special thanks to the late Dr. Martha Cox, longtime book award juror and founder of the Center for Steinbeck Studies in San Jose State University, whose generous gift enables us to give cash grants to each of our award winners. And major thanks to our book award jurors. They spend months reading, discussing, and debating the hundreds of books that are submitted for award consideration. Then they have the tough but rewarding job of selecting the best of the best for these awards. So many thanks to Chris Chen, Peter Fish, Kelly Gilbert, Mary Ellen Hannibal, Gordon Jack, Scott James, Evan Karp, Natalie Pankon, Maya Macker, Madison MacArthur, Sarah Rosenthal, Scott Saul, Julia Flynn Seiler, Lauren Silver, and Mary Tauger. I also want to mention 2 notable Commonwealth Club California Book Awards related programs. Our Reading Californians Book Club sponsors online discussions with many of our award-winning writers. You can find more information on these excellent programs on the club's website. And the club's education initiative, Creating Citizens, has partnered with the National Writing Project to bring the book awards to a new generation. Students 13 and older are invited to read the young adult finalists and publish their thoughts about the books online. More information is on the club's website at commonwealthclub.org/education. And now, on to our award-winning books. Our first category is nonfiction, presented by Julia Flynn Seiler.
Thanks, Gravity. The nonfiction finalists are The Man Who Could Move Clouds, a memoir by Ingrid Rojas Contreras. Bad Mexicans, Race, Empire, and Revolution in the Borderlands by Kelly Lytle Hernandez. American Midnight, The Great War, A Violent Peace, and Democracy's Forgotten Crisis by Adam Hochschild. Geography is Destiny, Britain and the World, A 10,000-Year History by Ian Morris. And the nonfiction gold medal goes to Adam Hochschild for American Midnight, The Great War, A Violent Peace, and Democracy's Forgotten Crisis. Both sweeping in scope and vivid in detail, American Midnight tells the harrowing story of the United States from 1917 to 1921, an era of world war abroad and racist violence, xenophobia, censorship, and political repression at home. The parallels to today are stunning in this masterfully crafted and researched portrait of a largely forgotten era. We welcome Adam Hochschild.
First of all, a warm thank you to the Commonwealth Club, not just for giving me this extraordinary honor, but for all that you do to help showcase and promote books and authors and make our work more visible to the world. Many, many, many thanks. I also want to thank everybody who helped me get this book across the finish line. Above all, my wife, Arlie Russell Hochschild, who has written many extraordinary books of her own. The two of us had the great pleasure of speaking at the club several months ago. The subject matter of American Midnight is pretty grim. It's about a period in this country's life, 1917 to 1921, when basically the United States went crazy. During those 4 years, we had press censorship on an enormous scale. We had vigilante violence, some of it promoted and encouraged by the federal government. And we had political prisoners. During those 4 years, roughly 1,000 Americans went to prison for a year or more, and a much larger number for shorter periods of time, solely for things that they wrote or said. All of that must never happen again. And my great hope for American Midnight is that readers of that will keep an eye out for the warning signs so that we will never, ever go back into a dark time like that again. Thank you.
Our first silver medal in nonfiction goes to The Man Who Could Move Clouds, a memoir by Ingrid Rojas Contreras. The Man Who Could Move Clouds tells the remarkable tale of a mother and daughter who both suffer amnesia and find themselves pulled into a spiritual journey that reaches back to their ancestors in ancient South America. The memoir reads like a masterful novel with touches of magical realism and raises larger themes about the brutal treatment of Indigenous people in centuries past and today. Now, we welcome Ingrid Rojas Contreras.
Hello, everyone. I want to thank you so much for recognizing, honoring my book among so many beautiful books at the California Book Awards. I want to thank the judges, the Commonwealth Club, my editor, Margot Schick-Mentor, my agent, Kent Wolf, and my whole team at Doubleday. Thank you. As a Californian living here, this award means so much to me, and I just want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. The Man Who Could Move Clouds is a story about my family. My grandfather was a curandero who people said could move clouds, and my mother became a curandera after him. My mother really saved our family more than once with the ingenuity of someone who's had to fight for her own liberation all her life. She engineered a way for us to leave a violent Bogota in the 90s. And when my father lost his job, she managed to feed us and keep a roof over our heads simply by praying over water and giving that water to people who were suffering and ill. Hers was the life of a curandera, and I'm so grateful that it has been and that it's touched everything in my own. Lastly, this book is a love letter to curanderos and traditional healers, and I wanted to dedicate this award to them. Thank you.
Our second silver medal in nonfiction goes to Bad Mexicans, Race, Empire, and Revolution in the Borderlands by Kelly Lytle Hernandez. Bad Mexicans is a groundbreaking account of the migrant rebels who helped spark the 1910 Mexican Revolution, from within the United States. Exhaustively researched and clearly and excitingly written, it puts on full display the United States' historic hypocrisy, racism, and complicity in the support of so-called useful dictators. And here is Kelly Lytle Hernandez.
Thank you to the Commonwealth Club for this extraordinary recognition. I really am honored to be in your company and to be in the company of all the medalists today. So Bad Mexicans, this new book tells the story of a group of Mexican radicals and dissidents who fled Mexico in the early 20th century to come to the United States to try to incite a revolution against the dictator back in Mexico. That dictator's name was Porfirio Diaz, and he disparaged the dissidents as malos mexicanos, or bad Mexicans. So these groups of dissidents came to the United States and they were able to rebuild their social movement. They established an underground newspaper. They established a political party to challenge Porfirio Diaz. And they also established an army. As an army of the dispossessed, of migrant workers and cotton pickers and miners and intellectuals. And that army raided Mexico 4 times from the United States in the early 20th century and helped to incite the outbreak of the 1910 Mexican Revolution, which removed Porfirio Diaz from power and forever changed the history of the United States and Mexico. So I'm really honored the Commonwealth Club chose to recognize this book about Mexicans and Mexican Americans, a group that is often sidelined in the US story. These dissidents not only incited a revolution in Mexico, but they changed the course of the story of race and white supremacy and policing and more here in the United States. So thank you to the Commonwealth Club for acknowledging, recognizing, honoring the diversity of the American story, and maybe more important, for honoring and recognizing the radical and rebel currents that have created the world in which we live today. So thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Our next category is fiction, presented by Peter Fish.
Thanks, Julie. The finalists for fiction are Heartbroke by Chelsea Beaker, The Furrows by Namwali Serpell, and Properties of Thirst by Marianne Wiggins. And the winner of the gold medal in fiction is Heartbroke by Chelsea Beaker. Set in California's Central Valley, this collection of short stories packs a powerful punch. With echoes of both Flannery O'Connor and John Prine, Beaker's voice is at home with dark humor, intense longings, and gritty tragedy. And Heartbroke's cast of characters, cowboys, grocery clerks, phone sex operators, lost teenagers, demand your attention for their desperate, beleaguered efforts to live better lives than the ones they're currently living. Now we'll hear from Chelsea Beaker.
Hello, everyone. First, I'd like to say thank you to the Commonwealth Club and to the jury for awarding my short story collection, Heartbroke, the gold medal in fiction this year. What an honor it is to be recognized by my home state for a book that means so very much to me and was written out of my upbringing in California's Central Valley. I'd also like to thank my publisher, Catapult, my editor, Jonathan Lee, who brought these stories more fully into themselves, and to my publicist, Megan Fishman, for your unwavering enthusiasm and support. Thank you to my agent, Samantha Shea, for your encouragement and love for these characters along the way. Heartbroke is about poverty, addiction, mother loss, and fractured parent-child relationships. Yes, but it's also about the will to survive, to grasp for love and truth, and to face down generational violence. These characters are in desperate times and yet still yearn for grace and connection. In the years I wrote these stories, I felt particularly compelled to record life's difficulties, but do it in a beautiful way and do it in a way that offered each character agency and love and respect. I also hope to entwine humor with darkness, to instill the nuance of the effects of trauma as a living, breathing thing, something that most of us can recognize in one way or another. I dedicated this book to my father, who has passed away, and in the time since Heartbroke came out, my mother also died, and here now I'd like to honor her too. My parents live on in the fabric of my sentences, offering up warnings to the generations to come. I'm grateful to have grown up in Fresno, to know that particular heat, to feel a region in all its visceral potency. I believe in no small way that it made me a writer. Thank you again to the jury for reading Heartbroke and seeing it the way I hoped a reader would. I am so proud to carry the honor of the California Book Award with me always. Thank you.
Our next category is first fiction. As its name proclaims, our first fiction category honors books by California authors who have not published a book of fiction previously. Our finalists are The Red Arrow by William Brewer, Out There by Kate Folk, The Rabbit Hutch by Tess Gunty, Native Ear by Jonathan Howland, Night Crawling by Layla Motley. And the winner of our gold medal in first fiction is Night Crawling by Layla Motley. Layla Motley's Night Crawling follows 17-year-old Kiara as she navigates a contemporary Oakland that seems determined to brutalize her, a city simultaneously gentrifying and feverish with drugs and crime and police corruption. Working heroically to save her brother, her 9-year-old neighbor, and herself, Kiara confronts the limits of individual heroism against the forces of racism and economic and exploitation. Vivid, unsparing, both bleak and beautifully lyrical, Night Crawling gains a place as a powerful portrait of deeply flawed California life in our deeply flawed 21st century. Now, let's hear from Layla Motley.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for the honor it is to be here and to be selected for this award. It means so much to me, especially considering that, you know, this is a California award, and California is my first and forever home. I feel especially proud of getting to recognize and expand our view of what California is, in particular, what Oakland is. Oakland is my hometown. It's where I was born and raised. And when I was thinking about writing this novel, writing Night Crawling, I knew I wanted it to have such a strong sense of place and groundedness in Oakland, and to represent an Oakland that I think we very rarely get to see. One of the dualities of being both this beautiful, vibrant place with a legacy of resistance and art, and also a place that has a very complex history, in particular when it comes to police violence. And so it's important to me that I was able to capture this in a story that really allows California and Oakland to serve a role as a character. And so I am particularly grateful to be here and to be awarded this incredible honor.
And the winner of our silver medal in first fiction is The Red Arrow by William Brewer. Cerebral, exciting, as propulsive as the Italian train it's named for, The Red Arrow follows a struggling writer as he contends with the mysteries of physics, marriage, chronic depression, and low-dose psychedelics. The Red Arrow is an intellectually playful and successfully ambitious book. Now we'll hear from William Brewer.
My deepest gratitude to the Commonwealth Club for this immense honor, to the jury for doing the hard work of giving their time and attention to so many great books, and for seeing something worth celebrating in my strange little novel. I feel especially moved by this honor because, as I tell people, I owe my life to California. This is true in the practical sense. If it wasn't for the life-changing gift of the Stegner Fellowship at Stanford, I never would have moved here or had the time to grow as a writer like I did. Likewise, it's through my teaching job at Stanford that I was able to stay and build a life with my wife in a place we love. But more personally, when I came to California, I never anticipated that what I would ultimately find, beyond books or a job or friends, was freedom from the disease of suicidal depression, a disease I battled for almost 20 years. I found that liberation, that total healing, through psychedelic therapy here in the Bay Area. What to outsiders might sound like a relic of the hippie era is in fact a vast network of people who kept alive the deeply therapeutic potential of these molecules through years of misinformation and damage. Psychedelic therapy saved my life, and the only reason that was possible is because of the innate spirit of this place, its belief in non-judgment and enthusiasm for life that protected these valuable gifts and people. Because of this, I feel deeply Californian, and that I am following the long tradition of souls who've come west and found on the edge of the Pacific the resources needed to change their lives forever. This novel is the story of a man who has found his life for the first time. He found it here in California, the place I am so grateful to call home. Thank you.
Our next category is poetry, presented by Chris Chen.
In poetry, our finalists are Hello, I Must Be Going by David Hernandez, To the Realization of Perfect Helplessness by Robin Cost Lewis, Before Whiteness by D.S. Marriott, Time Regime by Johnny Randhawa, and How to Make an Algorithm in the Microwave by Maya Salameh. And the gold medal goes to Johnny Randhawa for Time Regime. Randhawa's book of poems sits at the intersection of contemporary Asian American literature, experimental writing, and eco-poetry. Poetry collections are often described as visionary, but Time Regime really earns this descriptor. Randhawa's collection tracks how emergent social media technologies have profoundly altered how we remember, love, lose both our others and our place in the world. The poems are populated by speakers searching for, quote, those coordinates that locate a body in a landscape, letting it smear. What struck many of our judges is how dancerly these poems are, how a choreography of intricate bodily gestures becomes a way of communicating across vast distances, not only between people, but between the human and non-human natural world. These gestures transform the desert landscapes that appear across these poems into ritual spaces of connection, loneliness, grief, and repair. But these desolate spaces also sometimes pixelate, registering the impact of new technologies that blur the boundary between sensory experience and algorithmic processes, between poetic traditions' engagement with seemingly timeless natural landscapes and mounting planetary political and environmental catastrophes. Quote, how long will these images do work, the poet writes. Quote, for how long will they transport us before we have to intervene? And now we'll hear a few words from Johnny Randhawa.
Hello, Sat Sri Akal, Salam Alaikum. My name is Johnny Randhawa, and I am the author of Time Regime. I would like to acknowledge that I am joining you today as a visitor in the ancestral territories of the Tongva Kizh Gabrielino peoples, who remain current and integral stewards of this land in the San Gabriel Valley. It is wildly humbling to join you at the 92nd California Book Awards. It's a profound and surprising honor that my first book was selected from among the finalists' brilliant texts. And I thank the Commonwealth Club for the acknowledgement both of Time Regime and the work of small, nonprofit, volunteer-run publishers like mine at Gaudy Boy, who insist that experimental and admittedly challenging literature has a place in our culture. Set in 5 sections, loosely informal dialogue with a musical fugue, Time Regime weaves scenes through the biomythographic voice of a migrant and diasporic mutant cyborg. As the book unfolds, mythic inheritances corrode and the voice, indeed material history itself, is remade through grief, deconstructive theory, ancestral ritual, queer awakenings, and non-human interventions. The heart of this work is held by the lands where it was composed and revised, and by the friends and kin who held me for the many years it took for this book to be realized. The pieces in Time Regime were written across a decade, through illness, through the slow process of coming out and inhabiting my queerness, through witness to climate change's effects in South and North India and across the planet, through lessons on becoming in and out of love, through death and the radically transformative possibilities it leaves in its wake. My gratitude to everyone and my amazing publisher, Gaudy Boy, with special thanks to Ji Leong Ko, Kimberly Lim, Flora Chan, Michael Lay, and Emily Van Borstel, and to Dr. Dorothy Wong for initially selecting Time Regime for publication. Thank you to my partner, Teo Rivera Dundas, and to my parents and cousins and aunties and uncles for the vibrant, plural, fiercely rigorous world that you insist upon. Utmost thanks to the Commonwealth Club of California, to California Book Award readers and jurors for your hours of labor and for acknowledging Time Regime among California's universe of literary excellence. Kind thanks to all who are watching. Take care.
Our next category is Juvenile and Young Adult YA, presented by Lauren Silver.
Thank you, Chris. The finalists in our juvenile category are Choosing Brave, How Mamie Till Mobley and Emmett Till Sparked the Civil Rights Movement by Angela Joy. In the Beautiful Country by Jane Kuo. Seen and Unseen, What Dorothea Lange, Toyo Miyatake, and Ansel Adams's photographs reveal about the Japanese-American incarceration by Elizabeth Partridge, and Twin Cities by Jose Pimienta, and Hello Moon by Evan Turk. And the winner is Elizabeth Partridge for Seen and Unseen, What Dorothea Lange, Toyo Miyatake, and Ansel Adams's photographs reveal about the Japanese-American incarceration. This eloquent book focuses on daily life at Manzanar, the World War II incarceration camp for Japanese Americans in California's Owens Valley, as captured by 3 photographers, Lange, Adams, and Miyatake, the last of whom was imprisoned at the camp with his family. Text, photographs, and illustrations powerfully and painfully depict cruelties and injustices that still resonate today. Let's hear from Elizabeth Partridge.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Partridge, and I'm so honored that Seen and Unseen has received the Gold Medal for Juvenile Literature. I love to write about different parts of our American history that have been erased, the tough, difficult times when we did not live up to the ideals of our democracy. And this is definitely a book about one of those times. And at its heart, Seen and Unseen is truly a California story. Dorothea Lange, Toyo Miyatake, and Ansel Adams were all California photographers, and both Tan Foran and Manzanar, where they photographed, are in California. I had the intense good fortune to work in close collaboration with Lauren Tamaki and our editor, Ariel Richardson, at Chronicle Books, and the entire publishing house threw themselves wholeheartedly into this book. On behalf of all of us, thank you to the California Book Award Committee for this incredible honor.
In the young adult category, the finalists are Notes from a Sickbed by Tessa Brenton, Ophelia After All by Raquel Marie, Cold by Mariko Tamaki, and The Well by Jake Wyatt and Chu. And our gold medal goes to Ophelia After All by Raquel Marie. Buoyant, funny, and moving, Ophelia After All carries us into the world of Ophelia Rojas, where the pressures of senior year in high school, where will I go to college, what will I wear to the prom, are coupled with the deeper issues of friendship and sexual identity. And now, here is Raquel Marie.
I am absolutely honored to accept this award for my debut novel, Ophelia After All. This is a book I started writing when I was 19 years old and just beginning to understand my place in the world as a queer young woman. And since its publication, I have been overwhelmed and humbled by the amount of readers of all ages, but especially teens, who have reached out to express how this book resonated with them and their experiences and journeys with identity. I'd like to thank the Commonwealth Club of California and its jurors for granting me this award, my incredible editor, Rachel Diebel, and everyone at Macmillan and Feivel & Friends, my wonderful agent, Tao Lee, and everyone at the Sandra Dykstra Literary Agency, and of course, my friends and family who have always supported my penchant for storytelling. Lastly, I'd like to thank who this book is dedicated to. Firstly, my mom, who I miss every single day, te quiero mucho, mami, and the queer and questioning kids. I'm still rooting for y'all. And I urge us all to remember the importance of providing representation for young people, especially in the wake of increased book banning of books by marginalized authors across this country. May we never deprive future generations the life-affirming and life-saving joy of reading books that make them feel seen. Thank you.
Our final 2 categories are Californiana and Contribution to Publishing, both presented by Peter Fish.
Thank you, Lauren. In the category of Californiana, our award goes to Kim Stanley Robinson for The High Sierra, a love story. Both intimate and vast in scale, blending musings on geology, glaciers, marriage, friendship, and life, The High Sierra is a passionate love letter to a magnificent mountain range and a worthy 21st century successor to John Muir's The Mountains of California. Now, here's Kim Stanley Robinson.
Hi, everybody. It's a really big honor to be given this award by the Commonwealth Club of San Francisco. I've been there. It's a wonderful facility, and it's a great organization. And to me, it is an important part of California culture. It began back around the same time as the Sierra Club, and both of these are San Francisco-led organizations, one of the great cities of the world. And so that time, the 1890s, 1903, the state was pulling itself together after the first of its great events, the gold rush, in terms of at least European American history. And it was followed by, in terms of California history, by the Hollywood experience, the movies of the world, the dream factory of the world, and now by Silicon Valley. So there's something special going on. And as a Californian, I can't help but be highly aware of it. I grew up in Orange County. I went to college in San Diego at UCSD, and I've lived my life in Davis. And most importantly, for this particular book and the award that you've so kindly given me, I've spent a couple years of my life wandering in the Sierra Nevada of California. I love that mountain range. I love San Francisco, which, coming from Davis, which is like the provinces of San Francisco, is really the great city of the world. So beautiful. Same with the Sierras, one of the great mountain ranges of the world. So beautiful. We're a lucky state in all those ways. And so a thing has developed, California culture. The Commonwealth Club is part of the creation of that in its early days. And California culture is a distinct style, multicultural, Pacific-oriented, outdoorsy, and filled with a sense that California is one of the greatest place to live on earth. And so for all those reasons, it's a particular pleasure for me for this book to get this award. And now I think it's time to think again and keep the work going. In other words, California is a progressive state. It's a leader in the world, the fifth biggest economy on earth. It's a place where 100 languages are spoken. It's important as a kind of an exemplary figure, as an experimental space or a leader of world culture. They look to us. What we do matters. So it's a beautiful experience to be part of that whole thing as a Californian speaking to fellow Californians. And to have the spine of the state be the Sierra Nevada, this truly incredible mountain range, and saved for our use really by San Francisco culture that the Commonwealth Club was part of creating along with the Sierra Club. Well, it all wraps together into a kind of beautiful package for me personally. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart. I hope to give these thanks in person someday at the club itself again. And with that, I will pass it back to you. Thank you.
And finally, our Contribution to Publishing award goes to Backcountry Press for The Klamath Mountains, A Natural History, edited by Michael Kaufman and Justin Garwood. This encyclopedic and engaging guide to one of California's most beautiful but least known regions covers Klamath plants, animals, climate, geology, and human cultural history, with a particularly welcome emphasis on the region's indigenous peoples. Now we'll hear from Michael Kaufman and Justin Garwood.
My wife Allison Poklemba and I started Backcountry Press in 2012 when we published my Cal Poly Master's thesis, Conifer Country. That book launched us into other projects, and we now have 12 books in print, all of which have the overarching goal of better connecting readers to the natural world. Natural history is an integral part of the human experience, and we are proud to be recognized for our efforts in our new book, The Klamath Mountains and Natural History, which is nearly 10 years in the making. It came to fruition in large part due to the contributions of my co-editor, Justin Garwood.
Indeed, this book has made connections beyond anything that Michael and I could have ever imagined. I grew up in the Klamath Mountains and have always been both inspired and perplexed by the intricate natural history of this place I call home. Natural history has always connected me to this landscape, one of the most biodiverse temperate regions in the world. Now, due to the cumulative passions of 34 total authors, we finally have a definitive book to tell the epic story of the range. These authors all came together because of their passion for this place, to tell a wide range of stories. In nearly 500 pages, the book covers a wide range of topics, including First Peoples, geology, fire ecology, water systems, plant communities, insects and pathogens, and all the diversity of vertebrates. California is the most biodiverse state in our nation, and we are proud to add context to the story by highlighting one of its most special regions that means so much to many Californians.
The stories in this book are told by many diverse voices. It was important to us to make sure that the love of place, people, and ecological communities shine through. We believe that with more love and appreciation for place comes greater awareness and ultimately better stewardship for the landscape. In a time of rapid anthropogenically driven climate change, the only way to deepen connections and build stewardship is through awareness and appreciation of the natural world. The Klamath Mountains and Natural History is our offering to this place that we love. We thank the California Book Awards and the Commonwealth Club for recognizing our efforts.
Thank you, everyone who presented today. This concludes the 92nd Annual California Book Awards ceremony. Congratulations to our medal winners and to all of our finalists. Thank you for joining us in the celebration of the depth and breadth and creativity of California literature. And as always, happy reading.